Hi, I'm Steven, the host of the MENA Surge Podcast, your ultimate source for Web3 and FinTech-related news in the MENA region. We're powered by FinTech Surge and Future Blockchain Summit in association with GITEX Global, an integral part of Expand North Star taking place October 13th through 16th at Dubai Harbour. We're excited to be partnering with Web3 TV and its host Ornella Hernandez for Web3 Talks.
Hello and welcome everyone to this episode of the Web3 Talks. This episode is in partnership with the MENA Surge Podcast. So we have my co-host Steven Best joining me, and we are interviewing today Vineet Budki, who is the CEO and managing partner at Cypher Capital, a Web3 VC. How are you today, Vineet?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Doing great. Thank you.
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show today. And we wanted to just start off by asking you what a day in the life looks like for Vineet.
Mostly for me, the day in a life is all about going to different events, flying globally.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm the one who does the events and meets people, while a day in a life of the team of Cypher is all about evaluating great projects, meeting great founders, and ending up investing. Yeah, so they have the boring life and I have the fun life.
So if I wanted to be CEO of Cypher Capital, I just need to travel to events and I'm on the way there.
Yeah, perfect. Take my job, travel around the world, meet great people, have great parties.
Sounds good.
Okay, so out of all of these events that there are going on daily, weekly in the industry, and the ones that out of the ones that you've attended, what would you say makes a successful blockchain or crypto event?
So, for me, it's more like 4 categories of events which I consider good. One is, where you have amazing conversations, something like a Satoshi Roundtable or something like a CFC St. Moritz.
Okay.
Second, very intimate.
Yeah.
100, 200 people, you have great conversations, industry leaders, you have a CZ there, you have a Tim Draper there. The second one is more of events where you get alpha. When you go to Eat Denver or when you go to GDC, you meet these amazing founders who are doing great stuff and you actually end up investing. So in GDC, I've done close to 10, 12 investments in a year, and in Eat Denver, I had done like 18 investments. Third one is events where you go to show your face, you're still alive as a VC. And this is things like Austin, Consensus Austin and stuff like that. And fourth is all events where you go to parties. So these NFT events, NFT New York, NFT Paris.
Yeah, those are fun.
So these are all 4 set of events. I would say it depends. For me, conversations are important. Meeting 5 to 8 great people at an event, and the event is very successful.
Okay, sounds good. Yes. Parties are always a good time and lots of events to choose from.
Yeah.
All right, so Vineet, how do you then source or evaluate projects when you're looking to invest in one?
So, when it comes to Cypher has done close to 113 investments in the last 18 months. It was a $100 million fund. We've deployed close to $80 million across multiple startups, multiple funds as well. Thing is, we are not a very early stage VC. We don't actually go and look at projects which are just starting with a paper. We are more co-investors with other lead VCs. So for us, sourcing of deal happens through our network, sourcing a network of founders, network of VCs. So, I talk about our deals, we are the only investor in Middle East who has invested in Sui. We have invested in projects like Say. We were an early investor in last cycle on Casper. We are one of the investors in the region on Bera chain, which has been hyped up quite a lot recently. We did Revolving Studios, which is back to, I think they raised a $25 million round with Pantera. We were in MIPE at Hooligan, just came up with $1 billion valuation. They launched at $1 billion valuation, Humanity Protocol. So it's more coming from the network, the network of co-investors that we have, the network of founders that we have. Founders are the best source to get great alpha. So that's how we source our projects.
Okay, all right. And then are there specific sectors that you're looking into the most right now, given market conditions? I don't know if that's gaming or DeFi or even metaverse projects.
So as a philosophy, we at Cypher Capital look mostly at certain other parameters, like, the founders, like who's backing them up, what are they trying to do, But when it comes to segment, I've actually grouped it up what segments we have been investing in, but segment is not the driver of, because nobody knows which segment will become big. But if I look at what we have been investing, gaming has been predominantly very strong. People are talking about gaming now, but we have been investing in the last 18 months, close to 20-something investments.
Well, it takes so long for these games to be developed and come out, no?
So for me, the reason to invest in games was more that, everyone was in the last 2 years talking about infrastructure, L1. How many roads will you build? You need cars to be there. You need dApps to get users. L1 is not going to get a user. It's the game that's going to get the user. It's the DeFi app that's going to get the user. So gaming was important. What I saw in GDC 2 years back, GDC is this event which happens in San Francisco, that games were not built on tokenomics, but games were built on actual characters, actual narrative. You had real IPs there. So My Pet Hooligan had this amazing bunny that they were talking about. I met Nyan Heroes, which had these cats which were playing these games. And they were building the technology where they didn't want people to focus on Web3, but to focus on the game.
Right. It has to be fun, especially.
But earlier it was all about come to my game and make some tokens and become rich.
I know.
Yeah. I think that's always the question, right? What's more important when it comes to building these games? Is it making money, or is it making it fun? Is it the same people that are already gamers converting to Web3 play to earn, or is it a whole new market that they are just getting into gaming because you can make a little bit of money out of it?
So earlier, it's always been like that, if you even look in crypto cycles, the ICO boom of 2017, initially everyone, I believe there were 3 cycles. 2017 was all about, come, let's get an idea of doing some crap somewhere in the world and raise money. In 2020, you came up with real use cases. Aave and Compound were ways to get, lend and borrow stuff. You had identity products, you had launchpads. So there were use cases. And finally, I think next cycle is all about adoption. Similarly, in gaming, the last cycle was all about, let's do some token and make some money. But I think now it's all about games which are really getting people hooked on. And maybe the next cycle will be all about getting adoption. So gaming was one of the key sectors. We did a lot of DeFi as well.
Yeah.
We did a lot on Deepin as well. One of our projects, Deepin just did a 400 million raise on CoinList. That didn't mean that we didn't do any layer ones. We did layer ones during the bear market as well. We did Solana, one of the OTC deals on Solana. We did Sui as well. We did Sei as well. So it's been spread across these sectors. We're doing a lot of RWA as well. One of these projects is building, you don't buy watches always, Rolexes are not always to be worn. Some people buy it as an investment. Now this project 4K that we have invested in is building warehouses across the globe where you can buy watches, store them as NFTs, and they can be traded.
That's interesting.
Because you don't want to keep them at the home and you want to sell it, generate liquidity on it. So we're doing RWA projects as well. So it's been spread across these sectors.
And what do you think, since you mentioned the previous cycles and we're now in the current bull cycle, what would you say the prevailing narrative is? Or like what summer are we in? We used to be DeFi summer, and now are we in, I don't know, deep in summer maybe?
So a lot of people are putting a lot of, out of probably 10 segments which were hot, 4 or 5 will hit in the next 1.5 years. Which one will come first or which one will come second, nobody can say. But out of these 4 or 5, I'm pretty sure you will see, people are just not, Deepin is something people are talking about. People are talking about gaming. People are talking about Beta ecosystem. Beta was supposed to launch on August 20th. 20th of April. So it's 420. That's the meme number around it. But
Okay.
Familiar. Familiar. I've heard that day before. So why is it ringing a bell?
Yeah. And it was during token, if you remember. But again, this is where it's not about the token or not about the narrative, but about the founders. I'm seeing founders launching this month for no reason and seeing their tokens go down.
Okay.
Well, at least you should recognize that the Beta founders understand the part that it's not about launching, but it's about launching properly.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up. There's a lot of companies that they launch at very high valuations, but then there's low flow, right? The prices will just crash suddenly. So what's your view on that? Why is that happening?
So there's this amazing conversation going on crypto Twitter right now. I think there was a comment by Haseeb from Dragonfly. There was Binance Research which has put up that tokens are launching at high FTV and low floats. That means, you have this token which is valued at $60 billion, $100 billion, but only 1% of the token supply. And what's happening is post-launch, it is crashing quite strongly.
Right.
One of these big projects which was ever valued at $90 million recently is worth $40 million right now. Now the whole concern is that why is this happening? Is it because the VCs are dumping Which,
Are they?
No. So again, it can be, see, interestingly, it can be possible because people have to understand that how can VC be dumping when there's a 6 to 9 month lockup? You understand that Binance, to list something on Binance has a clear rule that you have to be locked up for 6 to 9 months. So if VC is not getting in, definitely not dumping it.
Okay.
Is it the airdrop hunters that are dumping it? Is it the KOLs that are dumping it? Or is it just market makers playing the game? So we don't know.
Combination of
It can be a combination of this. Then, there's this whole thing is money coming into the market? Because in the end, anything will rise up when money comes. The biggest indication so far in previous cycles has been that when BTC price goes up, retail comes in and that's where the money comes from. But till today, BTC price has been going up from the ETF price.
Right, for the institutions.
Institutions, the institutions are not buying these new launch tokens. They're buying what do you call BTC.
Yeah.
Is retail buying it? Retail in US, if you look at numbers, is already screwed with the interest rates. They can't pay their bloody home rents.
That's real.
The consumer price, consumer survey just came in. The numbers were drastically low. That means they're not buying stuff to eat.
Yes, of course,
invest. So unless vibrancy and interest rates don't go, I don't think retail is coming, which is probably 3 months from now.
Okay.
And then you will see some good movements around there. But again, adoption also counts here. That part is just the speculation part. Once you use a product, when you talk about deep in summer, have you used yourself any deep in play so far? No. So until you don't use it and the token doesn't have any value, how will this go up? You see Apple stock soaring up because I'm pretty sure you have an Apple iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So you see Aave Compound doing well because you lend and borrow there. At least 5% of the crypto population does that. But in all these things, it's still a speculative angle and not a use case angle.
Okay, so then what kinds of use cases would you like to see more of? Like what would make your life easier on a day-to-day basis?
See, for me, one of the biggest use cases is the lending borrowing thing. Why do I have to go to a bank to borrow money against my asset? Should the bank decide whether whether I should take a loan? Why should the banker decide it? It's my asset. Now, when you look at, suppose I one of the first Bitcoin houses in the way, if I have a platform where I can actually put the title deed, digitize it up, put it on blockchain and borrow against it, where there's supply and demand, then it's a perfect use case. It already happens in DeFi where you have Bitcoin and you can go to Aave, wrap the Bitcoin up and borrow against it without any third party in between. So I think this is one of the use cases which I definitely see. Then gaming is a use case. Again, gaming use case has to be thought about in a different, see, if you look at this movie that had come recently, that
King James,
something, I don't remember the name. So, in some of these,
that will be.
the Will Smith one.
Okay.
In some of these, you need institutionals to come in. Why can't you get retail to come in? To make a great game, you need an investment, and which investment is only done by people like Ubisoft or big people. Why can't you get smaller people to invest? And when this game becomes a Roblox, why can't the dividends end up in the people's hand? This was also done in a use case of this is even the launch pads that were there in the last cycle. Everybody complains that a VC has access to great projects, but retail can access it through launch pads before they launch. So these are some, DeFi is a use case. Again, sports and entertainment is one more thing that I believe can actually get a lot of benefit out of it. Real world assets can be tokenized as well. So some of these sectors I think will get a lot of users. One sector which is highly underappreciated is the stablecoin sector. Imagine you are in Zimbabwe, you don't trust your currency, which is depreciating like, faster than I don't know what, but imagine using a stablecoin there. You don't need a 20% ROI on your stablecoin. That is unsustainable. So the use of USDT is not in the US, but in Zimbabwe, where you save your value and get 2% on it. In Lebanon, where you don't have access to your capital, but a stablecoin card can actually make you buy everything and save your value. In Argentina, in whole of Latin America. So these are use cases which people have to be educated about.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So you're bullish on Circle, Tether.
I'm bullish. Ripple, again, people have always told me Ripple is going to go crazy. This just my thoughts on it. Ripple, there's something known as, I always, in our theory of how, when we evaluate projects, we also ask projects about a need and a want case. So, you need water to survive, you need food to survive. You need Ethereum because 70% of smart contracts are there. Whether Ethereum is $3,000 or $300, you need it. Similarly, BNB coin, if you have $1 million of BNB coin, on the launchpad, you make X amount of money. So these are need-based tokens. Then there are want-based tokens. Want-based tokens means, want is like, I want a Ferrari. Ferrari doesn't come, you don't die. Similarly, there are these tokens. You buy my token and you will get a 20% discount. I'll go to Amazon and get the 20% discount. I don't need your token for that.
Yeah.
So they have a very speculative component. Like even launch pads in a bull run are need tokens. When you have a DAO maker token and they release 5 tokens, you end up making $300,000. Sure. But in a bear market, there's no need. It's a want token. Nothing is launching. So here people have to understand that what are you building a need or is it just a want based? And then that's where we evaluate. And
so are stable coins considered needs for some people?
I would say a stable coin is a definite need. It's not truly a stable coin. It's a US dollar denominated because stable coin is something which deflates the effect of inflation. Right. But the US dollar is not a peg against inflation. It's been depreciating.
Right.
So the perfect product is something that is a mix of treasury bonds, gold, rates, and the dollar. So there are some people. There was this news about Atlas guys doing something with Noral Rabani. I don't vouch for them. I'm just saying there's no real stable coin, but it's a US dollar coin, which is better than your own currency.
So 113 ventures that you have invested into, or Cypher Capital has invested into in the last 4 years?
No, this is 18 months.
18 months.
Over the last 2 funds, we've done over 300 plus.
Sure. I imagine there's been some learning, there's been some adjustments of strategy. What are some of the things that you've learned between investment number 1 and investment number 13?
Interestingly, the source of deal and the quality of founders is which has been continuously adjusting. Initially, when we started 3-4 years back, I think my first 2 deals were crap deals. But then, as the circle of the network grew, as people grew, we started understanding, the quality deals have a certain level. Asikwa does a different level of due diligence. Pantera does a different level. So the learning has been more about focusing more on founders, what their pedigree is. Yes, there's one Zuckerberg who drops out of Harvard and does a great startup, but let's be fair, there is certain qualitative and quantitative aspect of a founder, all the people who drop out of Harvard don't end up making.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, but 90% of the people who do a Harvard, finish a Harvard course actually end up building successful companies. So what I'm trying to say is finding the right founders through the networks, that's been a successful learning. Getting to co-invest with great investors has been a learning curve as well. Those are the 2 things which, from just being a naive investor to being more seasoned and looking at certain metrics and investing.
And is there a certain project or a project category that you've been waiting for someone to pitch to you because you think it would be a great idea, but you just haven't seen it actually in front of you yet?
Tell our audience that the answer.
Or Nella actually has an idea she wanted to pitch.
No.
No, so again, for me, it's not about an idea that I want. In the end, there are need cases and use cases which I don't know about. I really have to understand what the founders. I haven't been very specific that this is something that I want to get people working on. What I look at is mostly the geographies that they're working at. When I told about the need cases and the want cases, I don't want founders to be sitting in Dubai or New York raising capital. I want them to be in Africa, building up for Africa. One of the products which we invested in is known as Jambo. Jambo is basically building, it's one of the Chinese founders based out of Africa, born and brought up there, and building up mobile phones, which will get a lot of people into crypto. So I would like people to build with real use cases, people to build where markets exist, and not just be in India, Dubai, and Lisbon.
Yeah, sure. Find a need, fix a need, right? That's how they say you create things.
Makes sense. All right, Vineet. So what are the upcoming events that you will be attending, since I know you have a busy schedule?
So I start traveling next from Wednesday. I do Arabian business conference on the Wednesday. I land up in ICP in Zurich, land up in Consensus, come back to Zurich for Zurich Swiss Blockchain Week, and then end up at Proof of Talk. Post that, I think we have HCC. HCC is amazing.
In Belgium this year.
Yes, because you have the Olympics there, and prices in Paris are like.
Yeah.
So I think HCC should be a great event to meet great founders. So again, as I said, there's these 4 categories, and for us as a VC, it's all about finding great alpha. So I would say HCC for sure, Token 2049 Singapore, great. Maybe Korea Blockchain Week as well. So as we go along.
You're everywhere.
That's the thing. The fun job is all about traveling and going to great places, while my investment directors are sitting in the office and getting bored. Yeah.
And if anyone wants to meet Vineet, then you should attend one of these events that you just mentioned.
Thank you. Yep. Would love to catch up with people for sure.
Yeah. Any advice just in our last few minutes that you have for maybe companies that are looking for investment?
See, again, a lot of founders who come across, they actually, as you said, it's about flavors. They look at flavors and try to build something up. I think more than flavors, find out what the problem is and try to build up a solution for that. Yes, there's this whole thing. Someone recently mentioned to me that success is quite easier in crypto. Doing a startup in Web2 is tough, but doing a startup in Web3 is easy. Personally, I don't believe that. Doing a startup anywhere in the world in any segment is tough. First, make a mind that you are going to do something 24/7 and build on that.
Yeah.
And don't build for the VC.
Okay.
Build for the need of the customer.
Yeah, for the users.
And survive till 2030. One of the biggest things that I've been telling my founders is, at the moment, if you look at numbers, there are 400 million wallets in the world. If I assume one wallet is 1%, that is 4% of the world population, which is not true, because I have 30 wallets. This 4%, 90% are speculators. They have never used crypto for anything useful. Like they have not lent, borrowed on it. They have not done KYC. They've just bought Bitcoin because Bitcoin will go to 200K. So they are speculators. So right now there's less than 1% population in the world which actually does something with crypto. In 2030, this will be more than 10-15%. So these founders who are building up have to have that 8-year horizon and 8-year runway before they end up becoming the Googles and the Facebooks of the world.
Right.
So survive, build, maintain treasury, and grow.
And build more dApps.
We get more users, and then until this 300 million doesn't end up becoming $2 billion. 300 million is the population of Delhi, man. It's Delhi population is more than that. It doesn't have any huge value. So.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Vineet. We learned a lot.
Perfect. Great meeting you guys as well. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and safe travels.
Thank you.